So without that extra money, they will not be able to, at this point on the project, without additional money, they won't be able to afford to build parking garages. So therefore, most likely, although they didn't announce this, but you can only imagine, most likely, the St. Luke's campus will be the new home of the hospital, if things don't change.
That's interesting. And I think, that kind of defines the approach to that money. I think a lot of people assumed that we were going to get it and we're moving forward with plans as if we got that money.
Yeah. And we didn't. So, what are our thoughts there? There were people somewhat applauding last night, according to the story in the OD. Not somewhat. There were people that were applauding. I think it's a loss for downtown. I was really kind of looking forward to seeing what the transformation would be like down there. But there are a lot of people that believe that private money is going to come in and fix up those areas. Well, you hope that's the case, right? We certainly hope that is the case. And but again, it's not completely done, although there's a meeting on Thursday night. But if more money, and it's quite a decent chunk of change they got to come up with in order to build those downtown parking garages, which, by the way, would have also been used for the auditorium for Comets games and events like that. So that's big news, huh?
Yeah.
Surprising? There were people that said to me, it's never going downtown. This is all part of the, they're just going through just going through the motion, that it wasn't going downtown in the first place. I'm not sure that I believe that, but I was told that from the very beginning.
Well, well, it's funny who you talk to, because, right, some of the folks that we talked to said basically, this is orchestrated, this is an inside deal, they've tailored this specifically to go down there, it's a done deal.
In the smoke-filled room,
Others have said just the opposite. There was some appeasement going on to show that it was going downtown, and that was never going to happen. Well, interestingly here, obviously we didn't know we weren't going to get that $500 million, so.
My question is, though, it's not going to go downtown, but we're still going to get the new hospital, is that right?
Correct, yeah, okay. But it would be open lot parking lots, it'd be parking lots versus parking garages. And also the building would not have to be as tall, and those types of buildings are far more expensive to build. So that $500 million played a big role, the loss of the $500 million. Interesting stuff. Hold on, Kristine will do news coming up. Hold tight. We're back here again. Thank you to Utica Mac and Will. Who else was with you yesterday?
Greg Hetzinger.
Will and Greg were out there yesterday.
He's on his way in. He's just running late today.
Doing their duty. So we appreciate it. Great job. 628 at WIBX. Community meeting in South Utica that the hospital might not be coming downtown after all.
Yeah, that was kind of a curveball, I guess. It's now... We've said all along that the hospital might be a game changer, but this appears to be a game changer for the plans to do that. So we've said, editorially that obviously information needs to be forthcoming before they can, make any kind of decision. And parking obviously is a big thing. And I guess they were counting on the $500 million grant from the Upstate Revitalization Competition to help pay for the parking. And now that appears, of course we didn't get that. And now they're kind of wringing their hands, wondering where the money's going to come from.
So this would be really all about the parking garage. And the height of the building, right, would cost much more than building maybe a 3 or 4 story building that they could build over at the St. Luke's project.
That's what they say. Yep, that's what they say.
All right.
I mean, this is really the first bunch of information that's come out on this from Norm Siegel, I guess, the chairman of the Mohawk Valley Health System board last night, was as we report today, and you're probably reporting at the Utica Neighborhood Association. They came out. He spoke about this parking situation, and clearly that's one of the big factors. In the whole thing. Yeah. Repurposing old hospital buildings is another one, and traffic. Traffic is another thing that needs to be.
Well, that was one of the reasons why the psych center. They're saying the psych center wouldn't work. A lot of people talked about that, but the old main main building at the psych center would have to remain, and they're saying that would cause an issue. So that site has been ruled out.
Has been or hasn't been?
Well, I thought it had been ruled out, or...
Well, they did. The story we have today said that that's unlikely because of, I guess, access.
Right.
I don't know if access would be a problem. I'm not a design engineer. Stretching the imagination, and I don't know. I don't know that Brigham building is just sitting there, as far as I know.
Yeah.
it would cost a lot of money to knock that down. But
and in the editorial, you talked about some of the positives of moving this downtown, and why would it be a game changer if it does come downtown?
Well, I think that it would be it would bring a lot of people into the city, workers and visitors as well, and it would be it would be something that I mean, they say that a downtown hospital would create chaos, and I'm not so sure. People just don't know what the plan is for this. And of course, Norm said last night that they haven't spent any money on architectural work, and you can understand that to a certain point. They don't want to spend thousands of dollars on architectural plans if something's not going to. But there needs to be some kind of, at least some kind of a plan put out there so people can understand it a little bit better. For example, let's consider traffic. People are saying, well, that's gonna mess up the traffic situation there because you have Columbia Street and Lafayette. But those streets would probably be gone
anyway, right?
They would that hospital complex would bridge those streets, and they would have to be cut off, and it would be a whole the scheme around the hospital would be a whole different traffic scheme than they have there now. So trying to imagine plopping a hospital there now and keeping the roads the way they are, that wouldn't be the way it is. I mean, a very tiny, smaller scale. Like you consider when they built the Utica National Building years ago, they cut off Washington Street. Washington Street, as you may remember, used to go right through, and it doesn't do that anymore. It's cut off, and that's the type of redesign of the downtown area that would have to happen.
And think about those that are against it coming downtown are talking about how private investment is what is needed to go in there. Isn't there a fear though that it's going to take a long time to turn that area around with just private investment?
Oh, I think for sure it would be. It would take I probably wouldn't be around.
Right.
But good things are happening. That area, and that's this is complex. This isn't just something. Oh, let's build a hospital downtown. There's a lot of components to this thing. A lot of the people who would be displaced are they're dedicated, committed people to downtown. People like Metzler Printing has been there forever. Clementi's has been there for a long time, and these are people who have they've staked their claim in downtown Utica, and you can't just say, well, you just can't come in with eminent domain or whatever the case may be and say, well, your building's worth $100,000. Here's a check, goodbye.
At this point, though, they seem to be fairly open-minded down there.
Yeah, you haven't heard too awfully much pushback from those folks, but that's because I don't know whether that's because they're willing to accept it or whether they just figure that, well, this is so far down the road and it might not happen that I'm not going to worry about it right now. That could be the case too.
All right, let's talk about. I wanted to just touch a little bit on your observation of the stuff that's going on across the country with Muslims and the large Muslim population we have here, and how well the Utica area has accepted that population and been really open-minded and allowing this melting pot concept to continue.
Yeah, I'll tell you something, Bill. Our city has people have a lot to be proud of. We have been extremely welcoming to the Muslim population, and a good case in point is that I believe it was sometime in 2014. I think early in the year, around April or so. The Muslim group, there was a Muslim group in Syracuse, and they had proposed removing crosses from a former Catholic church that it wanted to use as a mosque. And the Syracuse Landmark Preservation Board approved the plans, and but a lot of people signed an online petition urging that the request be denied. Now, this wasn't a Catholic church anymore. It had been a long time established Catholic church, but they had closed. But it still had, it contained crosses, a symbol of Christianity, but that's not representative of Islam. Right. And to expect a mosque to be topped by a cross is just disrespectful. It's not ignorant. Utica, on the other hand, was a lot different. When Central United Methodist Church downtown, a long-time Utica congregation, they sold their building on Court Street and Broadway to the Bosnian Islamic Association. and they converted it into a mosque. And a story that we reported is, excuse me, while doing renovation work at that church, the Muslim group came across a bell and a cross. And they could have just said, the heck with this stuff, and bust it out. But they went out of their way to turn those items over to the former owners, and they're now worshiping, some of that, the remains of that congregation are now worshiping in a new facility, not new anymore, but facility they moved to in Whitestown. And the Imams said that it's somebody's symbol of religion, and we don't want to throw it out and hurt somebody's feelings. And respect goes both ways. Yep. And that's what the country's about. And this whole thing on banning Muslims. I mean, Donald Trump and all his tirades and it's not what we're about. I mean, well, why not ban Saudis? The Saudis were the ones that majority of them. They were the ones that attacked the trade center.
It's funny. I watched an interview with him the other day, and I think it was Chuck Todd who said, "Why not just ban Syrians? The refugees from Syria, or pick a country." And Trump's answer I thought was amazing, and then he said, "Well, I thought about this. I knew I was going to create a firestorm, and basically saying." The reason I said it is I knew that it would ruffle everybody's feathers, which is incredibly irresponsible as a presidential candidate. I would say.
Yeah, he's a little scary. But you know what it is, Bill? It goes to show how disenchanted I think people are in this country.
Yeah.
Let's think about it.